You're in the Business Insurance Zone with me, Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and contributing author to Backroom Technician. This week on The Biz, the Elder Care Series, and on today's show, Medicaid and Veterans Benefits with care specialist Dianne O'Donnell McNamara, elder care attorney and consultant gerontologist.
When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Well, welcome everyone to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm your host, Steve Savant, and we're broadcasting to a nationwide audience of financial advisors right here in Fountain Hills, Arizona, home of America's largest fountain. And with me today, day 4 on our trek through elder care. I thought I knew what I was doing until I met Dianne. Dianne, welcome to our show.
Thank you.
I'm seriously, I'm Mr. Long-Term Care Retirement. I thought I had this down. And you are now expanding our world. And if you haven't seen Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday show, I really exhort you to go back out to our site, www.thebiz.tv, and watch them in succession. We're doing some building blocks here, and your learning experience will be a lot better. Let's talk about it. We started opening up on Medicaid, and I think, talk about myths. I mean, some of the things that you bring up all the time, I just go, I thought that was true. I thought that was the way it was. Let's walk through some of the pervasive ones that people hear every day. Give me a good myth that you'd love to bust on the show today.
Well, let's see. You have to be completely impoverished to receive Medicaid benefits.
That's not true.
That's not exactly true.
It's means tested, but you don't have to be completely flat broke.
Exactly. It depends on if you are a single person or if you're a married person. Because if a single person needs Medicaid benefits, then there is pretty much, and every state is a little different, so I'm just going to give an example of a lot of states have a $2,000 asset limit. Now that's very poor.
That's very poor.
Very, very
poor. $2,000.
Mm-hmm. However, if this person is married and their spouse is living in the community, what we call the community spouse, that spouse can hold on to as much as over $100,000, and I won't give real specific numbers, but
well,
over
while you're
100,000.
talking about it, we're broadcasting from the state of Arizona, community property state. Are we one of those?
Well, they don't view it in terms of community property from a Medicaid perspective. What's so interesting that you bring up is every scheme of benefits and distribution of estate planning and VA benefits, it's all different regulations. Mm-hmm. So you can really trip yourself up if you don't kind of look at the whole picture.
But you just exhorted me that if I'm single at 2,000, and if I could find a kind of girl of my geriatric dreams, I could be at 100K.
Well, she would be.
She would be.
Yes.
Yes, I noticed I just got X'd out again. Okay.
Yes, exactly.
What's another myth that's pervasive out there?
They're going to take my house.
They are.
I have to give Medicaid my house.
So my house is free and clear. The myth is, if I tap myself into Medicaid, they're going to come in for my house.
Well, the house is an exempt asset for calculating the asset requirement, up to usually a value of some value of $300,000, $500,000. Different states have different maximums, but the house is considered an exempt asset. So most people think, though, that to get on Medicaid, they're going to have to relinquish the house, that somebody's going to come down from the government and throw them out of the house. It's not that way. Now, there is something called estate recovery that began years ago, and different states were slow to implement the estate recovery. And what that means is that for anyone who has an estate left over and who accessed benefits, then there can be a repayment to the state of the Medicaid benefits that were taken from the estate. And that's where the planning comes in, that a lot of elder care attorneys and estate planning attorneys will do to take a long-range view and say, how should the assets be titled in case Medicaid is needed? Most people, though, however, don't plan ahead, and the Medicaid benefit is what's needed, and needed quickly in a crisis situation. So again, looking at the assets to protect them as much as possible for the family becomes a much more complex equation.
Is there any other myth buster that you think there's out there? It's pretty pervasive.
I think people view Medicaid as welfare and for the worst, the lowest group in our society, and that is just not the case. I have seen time and time again where Medicaid, if it weren't for Medicaid, I don't know what my clients would do, because they've done everything right. They saved a long time. They lived a very long life, however, and then at some point needed that long-term care. Didn't buy insurance way back when, and don't qualify for it now. And so I think we need to look at Medicaid in terms of, at this point in our country, in our our healthcare system, it's the only scheme for paying for long-term care, other than long-term care insurance, obviously.
Now I think about this because Medicaid is a huge, and this is another entrance into the senior market. And then we have docs on this. If you want to order, say, Steve, I want to see this. I'd love to see. We have it for Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. That package, and I think that what it does is it outlines what really is true and not true, and it could be your entree into the senior market. If you've been looking, hey, I needed to get into this, now we're bringing Dianne in here, and she's saying, this market is so big, it's way bigger than you thought it was. Here's just another added extra. I'm becoming a little bit knowledgeable on Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. I already understand a little bit about long-term care. I have retirement plans down, RMDs. Now I'm expanding my understanding, my definitions, my vocabulary to include all these things you're talking about.
Well, exactly. I think, again, as I've said many times, I think we do a disservice to our elder clients and their family if we don't take into account the big picture. Because one action to take in one way of dealing with assets may ultimately cause a problem down the line. So you've just got to take into account all of the pieces of the pie into what things will pay for.
I think senior market, when we're talking about senior market, I think we need to be more, I shite to use this term, holistic. I think our approach has to be holistic. Our approach has to be big picture and take on all the universal issues you've been talking about. We come back, we're going to continue our bit on Medicaid and veterans benefits with Dianne. And don't forget, you can enroll in IULsUniversity.com for the best training, education, and for life insurance as a retirement income plan.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.
Did you know the average 401k runs out of money just 7 to 8 years into retirement? Time Magazine, the Wall Street Journal, and many other publications have warned of the difficulty of saving with a 401k. But what if there was a way to create tax-free lifetime retirement income with no stock market risk? Good news, there is.
Living in fear of the next market dive is not the way I want to live my life.
Why would I go out there and take on risk when I don't need to?
I have a lot less stress knowing I can't lose any more of my retirement savings in the stock market.
Call now to receive your free, no-obligation analysis of what this retirement vehicle could do for you, a comparison to your current retirement plan, and a free video that explains this exciting opportunity. Start planning a retirement you can enjoy instead of worrying about future tax increases and stock market losses. Creating income that will last your entire life is the most important thing you'll ever do. Take control of your future. Call now for your free analysis, comparison, and video.
Well, welcome back to the Business Insurance Zone. I'm Steve Savant with Dianne O'Donnell McNamara. And remember, you can order today's materials at thebiz.tv. And while you're out there, click on the backroom technician icon, which is on the Biz blog right on our site, for their 30-day free trial offer for the best needs analysis and educational material. And by the way, everything we're sending out all this week on Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security. I don't know if I have something on VA benefits out there. I'll have to check it out. Okay. We'll send you what we have, and Dianne will say if she gives us anything, we'll give it to you. And we'll give it to you. It's free. Just write me at thebiz.tv. And remember, before moving forward with any of the advice that we give on as regards to taxes and legal advice, especially with an attorney here, don't forget to check in with your tax advisor and legal counsel, as well as your broker-dealer compliance officer if you are so FINRA licensed. We're talking about Medicaid in the first section. Now we're going to talk a little bit about VA benefits. Now, to me, we just celebrated 4th of July. Okay, we just did our salute to our independence. We wouldn't have independence if it wasn't for our vets. I'm sorry, but might makes right, kind of. I mean, if we didn't have the ability to defeat the imperial powers in the last century, I don't know what kind of lifestyle we'd be living. We live in the freedom, the land of the free, the home of the brave. I'm proud to be American. I know you are. And I want to make sure that we understand a little bit about VA benefits because we owe it to our veterans, especially on this time of the year when we're celebrating 4th of July. Just saw those fireworks last week. It was great. So let's talk a little bit about VA.
Okay, well, most people think of veterans benefits as being only for those who have retired from service after 20 or 30 years or who were disabled during service. But there is a benefit that's called an improved pension. And part of that improved pension is called aid in attendance, and it's specifically designed for veterans who served during wartime for at least one day during wartime, who were in active service for at least 90 days, and who were other than dishonorably discharged. So you can think of who were honorably discharged. This benefit is a cash benefit, and it's available to the veteran or the veteran's widow, or to the veteran, the married veteran, and his dependents. And so the amount of money that is available through this Veterans Aid and Attendance depends on the amount of unreimbursed medical expenses that the veteran or his widow is experiencing.
So if they're actually saddled with a bill that can't be reimbursed through maybe Medicare or their own long-term care, whatever, this could be a play.
Oh, it's an I've seen it just really improve the life and the quality of life of some of my clients because it's a cash benefit, and what you're trying to do is you look at the unreimbursed medical expenses versus their income, and if they're spending more than they on those expenses than their income, they're going to be drawing down obviously on their savings, and so that veterans benefit can kick in and provide a monthly cash benefit to cover those expenses. And so it can pay for things like that home care we talked about, or our home health, or an assisted living facility when Medicaid would not otherwise pay for that.
Is VA benefits, let's say for a married couple,
Yes.
is that in addition to, if he has Social Security too, he could be getting both?
Absolutely.
Wow. Now,
Absolutely.
do you think people know that?
I think the word is getting out. I want the word to get out more. The Department of Veterans Affairs is in a tremendous backload of claims. That's on the news every so often. But I definitely think it's a worthwhile benefit to apply for because it can pay for a lot of things that otherwise they're drawing down on their assets, their savings.
If I understood, if I'm reading some of the notes you gave me, like, so if I'm married and I'm looking for maximum aid and attendance benefit, I'm really looking at like $2,000,
That's right.
a little over $2,000.
That is significant.
And that has nothing to do with Social Security.
Correct.
See, to me, that's a huge issue. And if we're not talking about this, we need to be making sure this could be an entree into another entry into the senior market, VA benefits. Is it a pretty tough area to learn? What's the learning curve on this?
It is rather complex. And again, like I said, if you are looking on a long range on long-range term for a client, and you're looking at all of the eligible sources of payment, you've got to be careful. If Medicaid is ultimately going to be in the future, what you do to plan for the veterans benefits could disrupt the Medicaid plan. So I always recommend that you, again, go back to the big picture and consult with experts who know the veterans benefits. Your choices are to doing a claim, and you need a lot of information about the veteran's service, the discharge papers, and you need a lot of information about the medical expenses. So it is a rather complex form, and you can do it yourself, go to a veterans service organization, or there are accredited attorneys who do this work and who have been approved by the department.
Do you do this kind of work
I
yourself?
I do.
Well, so now we're talking about strategically when we take Medicaid versus VA benefits. There's a science to this.
There is.
So if you were looking at me and say, hey, Steve, I got a lot of people about this. Hey, listen, if you want to get on the line with it, I'm sure you'd be happy to do that.
Sure.
Because this is a whole new way of walking into the geriatric market, knowing a lot about VA benefits, how it relates back to Medicaid, all these things that we've been into. We've been just dipping our toe into Medicare and Social Security in the last 2 years. Now we're adding some more to our plate. I think it's really a tremendous idea. I want to be able to give a shout out to all our veterans that are watching this, we are so appreciative of what you've done for us. And I just want to tell you from my heart, the freedom that I enjoy and my family enjoys to pursue happiness is just because you did that for us on the battlefield. I have nothing but respect and honor for our people in uniform, and I salute you, Steve Savant, on the Business Insurance Zone. Remember, you can follow me on Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, or email me at steve@thebiz.tv. Well, that's the Buzz on the Biz for today. You've been in the zone, the Business Insurance Zone.
You're listening to the insurance industry's #1 resource for products, planning ideas, carrier information, and interviews you can use. When it comes to life insurance, annuities, long-term care, disability, or group pension plans, we're the news you can use.